Hello, this is Somnath from the programming domain, and this is a video accompanying the modules which I'll be creating as a PDF. And you can explore more by getting a practical overview of all the concepts which we'll be covering in the modules. The first module, which you would have already seen, is dealing with the concepts of inheritance, that is, classes and subclasses, and then concepts of abstract classes and interfaces. And before we start that, we will go with a brief intro of our working environment and what are the parts of a Java class, which I have not very clearly covered in the PDF. So we can have a very interactive way of understanding them using our tools. And by the tools, I use basically this BlueJ, or you can use the very old tool that's NetBeans, right? NetBeans will work on it a little later, but starting with BlueJ, because it's a very interactive tool for all the new comers for this language, and it will enhance your understanding, like how an object can be created in a very visual way. Okay, so let's start up our IDE BlueJ. Okay, in this we have this environment where we have to first create a project. Clicking on new project, we have to just give a name and click create. I already have a project here, which is gifting here. Okay, in the Java programming language, we have a concept called package. Okay, what is package? Package is nothing but a folder where you have all the related classes in them. The classes may or may not be related, but they are basically related in the terms of Java. The closest analogy which I can give you to packages is the namespace which you use in C++. So this is something similar to your namespaces, where you actually include all the header files. And when we use a package, we have all the classes stored in them. So when we have to suppose use a class in some other class of another package, we basically import here instead of including. Okay, so starting with this, the first thing we do is create a new package, and let's name it demo. Okay, on clicking demo, we have this same interface under demo package. We can create a new class, and I have already written a program which is there in the PDF. I'll just show you how to create a new class here and tell you what are the parts of a class. So my class name is Pokemon. Okay, and once we have created, we can observe that our class file is looking checked. This means that it is not compiled, and we have to compile it. So before that, let's open it and check what's there. Inside it, it's a very delightful visual view with lots of colors. All kids can love it. Okay, so the first part of our Java program consists of the package name. So we have the package as package demo. Okay, so this is the way you tell which package are you going to use it. If you are importing any packages, you can write something like import space java.io dot star. It's something like package hierarchy. So package Java will contain IO. So we refer it as java.io dot star. Star means all the related classes which are included under the IO package, or any sub packages available under it will all be included inside it. Right now we don't need it, so I'm just canceling it. Okay, so the next part of our Java program is the description. This description is basically called the documentation, which is very well can be demonstrated in a later part of this video, where you can just give a description of your class here. Okay, the next part will be the name of the author. Next will be the version of our program, and then we are ending this thing. It's something like comment, but we have different type of writing standard. This is basically a help for anyone who sees your class and knows who's the author or who designed it. Okay, let's jump into the real important part, which is a public class Pokemon. Okay, so our class name was Pokemon, and we have something called this, which is known as access specifier. So public class Pokemon will tell us like this class is available to any of the classes which are trying to access across any of the packages. Okay, I guess all of you might know about access specifiers as they are public, private, protected. In Java, we have another access specifier which is not written at all, which is known as default. If we have to specify default, default is something like this. No, access specifier means default. Default is nothing but public, but under the same package. So all the classes will be public for all the classes in the same package, but they are not accessible. They are protected across other packages. Okay. The next part of our class, once we open it, we have all the variables inside it, which are nothing but the data members. Once we have all the data members, we have their appropriate data types, the variable names, and also the access specifier associated with them. In Java, we don't write the access specifier once, we write it along with the data member or the class or the function itself. That's the only slight difference between C++ and Java. The next part of our program will have the constructor, which is written here. Constructor, as you know, is a method which is called whenever our object is created, and it has the same name as our class. It is used to initialize all the data members of our class. Okay, so as you can see, we have a data member X, and it is initialized as 0 in here. Okay, the next, and here as you can see, public Pokemon, because all the time our constructor has to be public. It is mandatory and it is very obvious that any object when created should have a clear direct access to the constructor of that class, hence public of the constructor. Okay, so the third part of our class would be the function, which is int sample method, and it's a sample method which takes a parameter y, so and returns a value int. So it basically computes the data member x and adds it with our data member y, our argument y, and returns it to the calling method that might be main. So this is a brief overview of what we will have as a class in a thing. Now I'll just close this program because we won't be needing this package. I already have the demo package installed in it. So we'll just remove this package and open demos, which is another package I created earlier, and it has the Pokemon class in it. Now let's open the Pokemon class, and as you can see, it doesn't have the lines in it, so there's some difference here. In our program, we have this interface as compile here, cut, copy, paste, find, etc. But this compile button is something like after you type your entire code, you can just press this and it will check for all the errors. If there's no error, it will show zero syntax errors. Okay, so as we started, it's package demos, and we have the description, the documentation, sorry, and we have a class called Pokemon Cat. Now I would advise you to have a two class system. That is, you will have a basic class which will contain all the functions and related data members and everything. And there will be a class which will have the main, which will access the previous class. So this will actually create two classes in the same package, but in the same file. Okay, so let's start with our first class, which is Pokemon Car, which is Pokemon character, by the way. And Pokemon has been our favorite every time. So let's know the characteristics. They are like the basic characteristics with their data type. And the data types are like name, type, HP, attack, defense, and special attack. We have a constructor for that, and we are taking all the arguments required for that. Okay, and we are initializing all the data types using the constructor. Okay, so we are using the first name variables here as the same name, and you must be wondering what is this keyword called this. Okay, this is very interesting when I just keep on saying this again, and it's really confusing. But let's take it as the very simple concept, which is nothing but our current object. So whenever we are creating a new object, that time we are calling the constructor again and again. So we are calling the object when we are initializing that. We are taking all the attributes here and initializing them with these attributes, which are taken in as parameters for the constructor. These parameters are substituted here for this object or my current object. So this keyword is nothing but a reference to the current object which we are referring to. So whenever you write this, it means that it is the current object in the perspective of the user or the coder. Okay. Next, which we have is a function or a method where we have do special attack. In this, we are printing using this function, which is system.out.println, followed by our data member name and a string. As you know, string can be concatenated with a plus sign. So we are using it. So the name of the Pokemon, doing the special attack, and the special attack name. Okay, ending it, we close this and close this. So we have all the data members, the constructor and the functions enclosed in a class. Then we have this class, which is the Pokemon, the main function inside it, and we have something called string args. So what is string args? String args is actually an array of string variables which can take in command line arguments from the user whenever the user is executing the program code. Okay, and more on that later we will see when we are executing on our program. And we have the object declaration here. How do you do it? So we are taking the class name Pokemon Car, then we are naming the object as Pikachu. Then we are instead of doing it just like this, which we used to do in C++, we cannot use this technique because in Java we have to use something called new uh, class name. So we have to call the constructor here using the new keyword. New is always used to create a new object. Okay, whenever we need to create an object, we have to use the new keyword, and new along with our constructor. So we are calling our constructor explicitly, and this is the standard way of creating an object in Java. So we are calling our constructor here, and it is initializing our object every single time. Same thing happens when we are creating any array as well, and we can create an array something like say int arr, say the value, but here it is Java, so we don't give any value. So we just give it as new integer of the size, as simple as that. So Like in other languages, as in C++ or C, we used to just give the value, the size of the array we need it, but here we have to just change it because we are calling it as a constructor every single time. Okay, and we are using our object to call the function which is do special attack. Now let's compile our program. File saved, class compile, no syntax errors, very good, and close it. To run the program, we have to right click on the file, and we have two options here: new demos Pokemon and void main string args. So if we click new demos Pokemon, it is saying that create object demos.pokemon, name of the instance Pokemon 1. Okay, let's see that. Creating object done, and right click on this. Okay, that's weird. This is, however, something which is I call object creation, and it will just show what are the inherited from object or the methods which we need. More on that later when we do inheritance. And that's why I love this tool, because it will give you a very well uh, introduction on how to go with inheritance in Java. Okay, so we have to run our program not through this but through this, which is void main string args. And as I said, we can put in our command line arguments during the call. So here, if we need to put any of the command line arguments, we can put it right here inside this braces. Okay, so I don't have any arguments, so I can just click OK, and here's my result. So Pikachu doing the special attack, Iron Tail. That's it. So as simple as that. It's different than the typical hello world program which we don't need to do, and we are just seeing how we are having a simple class with a function defined in it. Thank you. I'll be covering the next concepts of inheritance, static, and abstract classes and interfaces in future videos.